The spaceport was loud, full of blinking lights and tired travelers. Jack stood near Gate 7, holding his small bag, just waiting for the transport back to Earth. He had been away for too long. Mining jobs on cold moons were never easy. All he wanted now was to sit quietly, get on the shuttle, and leave this place behind. But then, he noticed something strange. 2 alien girls stood by the corner, near the glowing vending machine. They looked lost, scared, and out of place. Their clothes were dirty, and one of them held the other's hand tightly. The older one had long silver hair, tied in knots, while the younger one's ears twitched nervously. They whispered to each other in low voices, but their eyes kept scanning the terminal. Jack looked away, but something pulled his eyes back to them, again and again, and then it happened. The older alien girl walked straight toward him. Her eyes glowed slightly, and her voice was soft but clear. "Human, we don't have money for the tickets," she said. "But we'll compensate you." Jack blinked, not sure he heard that right. "What?" he asked, looking around to see if this was some kind of joke. "We need passage to Sector 9, she said. "Just 2 tickets, please." The younger girl behind her was shaking now, hiding part of her face with her hand. Jack sighed. "I'm not rich, you know," he muttered. "Why me?" The older girl tilted her head, as if trying to understand his thoughts. "Because you're the only one who looked at us with kindness," she replied simply. Jack stood silent, heart pounding. He didn't know who they were or what they wanted, but something in their eyes made him believe them. They weren't lying. They were just desperate. He walked to the ticket booth, glanced at the price, and groaned. It would cost him nearly all his credits, but somehow he still bought the extra 2 tickets. "Thank you, human," the older girl said, bowing slightly. "You don't have to bow," Jack muttered, embarrassed. "Just sit down before someone changes their mind." They followed him to the waiting bench, sitting quietly. The younger one finally spoke. Her voice was soft like a breeze. "My name is Nari," she sighed. "This is my sister Iluna." Jack nodded. "I'm Jack," he replied, not sure what else to say. The clock ticked slowly as they waited. People stared at the strange group. 2 alien girls and 1 human miner sitting together like family. Jack didn't like the attention, but something told him he couldn't walk away now. He asked, "Why are you traveling alone?" Iluna paused, then said, "We are running." "From who?" Jack asked. She didn't answer, just looked away, eyes filled with shadows. Nari leaned close to her sister and whispered something in a language Jack didn't understand. The mood grew colder, heavier. Jack turned his eyes to the screen above. Just 10 minutes left until boarding. Suddenly, a loud noise echoed behind them. A group of uniformed guards marched past, scanning the crowd with handheld devices. Iluna's body tensed, and Nari gripped Jack's arm, hiding behind him. "They're looking for us," Iluna said under her breath. Jack's heart jumped. "Wait, what did you do?" he asked. "Nothing wrong," she said quickly. "We escaped from something bad." Jack looked at the guards, then back at the girls. He knew trouble when he saw it, but he also saw fear in their eyes, real fear. Without thinking, he stood up and pulled them both close. "Act normal," he whispered, walking them toward the boarding gate. "Just follow my lead." The guards glanced at them, but didn't stop them. Jack handed the tickets to the scanner, and the machine beeped green. They walked through, breath held tight. Only when the shuttle doors closed behind them did the girls finally breathe out. Jack sat down and stared at them. "I hope I didn't just make the dumbest decision of my life," he said, shaking his head. Iluna looked at him with a soft smile. "No," she said gently. "You made the most important one." Jack didn't know what that meant, but deep down, something told him this was only the beginning. Far away, in the shadows of the terminal, a figure watched them leave. It whispered into a hidden comm device. "We found them," the voice said coldly, "and they're not alone." Asterisk. The shuttle moved through space like a silent bullet, stars sliding past the windows as if running away from something. Jack leaned back in his seat, trying to rest, But his mind was far too busy. Aluna and Nari sat across from him, heads bowed, whispering quietly in their own language. He couldn't hear the words. But the tone wasn't calm. It was sharp, tense, full of worry. He rubbed his face with both hands, thinking about the moment he bought those tickets. Why did he do it? Why not walk away like everyone else? But it was too late to undo it now, just. Then, a sharp cry came from the aisle. A young boy shouted, "Stop, thief!" as a masked creature dashed past, holding a stolen bag. Before Jack could even move, Aluna stood up and raised her hand. The thief froze mid-step, like an invisible wall had slammed into him. The stolen bag dropped, the crowd gasped, and Jack just stared, wide-eyed. The guards on board rushed in and tackled the stunned thief. Dragging him away, passengers clapped, but Aluna didn't smile. She quietly sat down again, her eyes low, like she wished no one had seen that. Jack leaned forward and whispered, "What did you just do?" Aluna didn't answer, but Nari looked him in the eye, her voice soft and sad. "She used to be something powerful," Nari said, "but she doesn't like it anymore." Jack blinked. "That wasn't normal," he whispered. "She didn't even touch him." "It's better if you don't ask," Nari replied, glancing around. "People listen." On shuttles, Jack nodded slowly, feeling a strange chill in his chest. They were more than just lost girls, more than just runaways. Something strange followed them, something dangerous. Suddenly, a small light blinked near the ceiling of the shuttle cabin. A camera, Jack realized, adjusting slightly to focus directly on them. He pretended not to notice, but he felt it. Someone was watching. Later, when most passengers were asleep, Jack sat by the window alone, staring at the stars. Nari came and sat next to him, holding a thin blanket around her shoulders. "You're kind human," she said, almost like a question. "Why are you kind?" Jack shrugged. "I guess." "It felt right," she nodded, as if that was a rare answer she didn't expect. "In my home, kindness is traded, like food or cloth," she said. "It's not given for free." "Well, on Earth," Jack said, "we have people who give kindness just because they can." She smiled slightly, then leaned closer. "Do you know what she meant earlier? When Aluna said you made the most important choice?" Jack shook his head. "No clue. She didn't mean just helping us," Nari whispered. "She meant everything that comes next." Jack felt a heavy weight settle in his gut. Before he could ask what that meant, the shuttle lights flickered. Twice, a voice came over the speaker. "Attention all passengers, please return to your seats. We are entering restricted space for routine scan." Jack frowned. "Restricted? Why?" Nari's face paled. "They found us within seconds." A patrol drone docked with the shuttle. The door hissed open, and a tall figure stepped in. Dressed in a dark uniform, he didn't smile, didn't greet anyone. He held up a small device, and it blinked with red light as he walked past each row. Jack looked to the girls, but they were gone. He looked behind his seat, no one. Panic began to rise, until a soft whisper came from under the bench. "We're hiding," Aluna whispered, voice barely heard. "Don't move." The officer reached their row. The scanner flickered, blinked. Yellow for a moment. Jack coughed, pretending to stretch his arms. Blocking the scanner with his body, the officer narrowed his eyes but moved on. After what felt like forever, the patrol finally left and the shuttle doors sealed again. Jack exhaled sharply as the girls crawled back out from hiding. "You risked yourself again," Aluna said, almost confused. "Why?" Jack didn't answer, just gave her a tired smile. But deep down, he was beginning to wonder the same thing. Who were they really? And what exactly had he stepped into by buying them those tickets? Far behind their shuttle, the patrol drone sent one last silent message across the stars. Target location confirmed. Begin Phase 2. Jack had barely closed his eyes when he felt a hand pressed gently on his shoulder. He opened them fast, ready for trouble. But it was Aluna, looking calm and serious. "We need to talk," she whispered, her silver eyes glowing faintly in the shuttle's low light. Jack looked around. Most passengers were asleep. The engines hummed quietly. He followed her to the back of the shuttle, near the emergency exit, where no one else sat. Nari was already there, waiting, holding something small and wrapped in dark cloth. "We said we would compensate you," Iluna began, her voice quiet but strong. Jack raised an eyebrow. "I told you, I didn't help for payment." "We know," Nari said, "but our kind doesn't ignore debts." She unwrapped the cloth, revealing a tiny metal crystal, pulsing with blue light. "What's that?" Jack asked, his voice low. "It's called a core shard," Iluna replied. "It holds energy and memory. It's alive in a way." Jack hesitated. "Is this dangerous?" "Yes," Iluna said without blinking, "but only to those who misuse it." Before Jack could argue, Nari pressed the shard into his hand. The moment it touched his skin, a spark raced up his arm. He gasped as strange symbols flashed across his vision, alien letters, shapes, stars. "What is this?" he asked, breathing hard. "You accepted it," Iluna said simply. "It has bonded with you now." Jack tried to drop it, but it was already gone, melted into his skin, like it had become part of him. He looked at his palm, a faint glow now pulsing. Under the surface, "I didn't ask for this," he said, voice sharp. "We didn't ask to be hunted." Iluna replied calmly, "But here we are." Jack sat down slowly, his mind spinning. "What does it do?" he asked. "It will protect you," Nari said, "and show you what needs to be seen." Jack didn't like the sound of that, not one bit. He stared out the shuttle window, trying to calm his breathing. Then something strange happened. For a moment, the stars outside stopped moving. Everything froze, like time had skipped a beat. And in that moment, Jack saw an image in his mind, a tall stone gate, covered in ancient carvings, standing in a desert under twin suns. Then the vision vanished. The stars moved again, and the noise of the shuttle returned. Jack looked at the girls. "Did you see that?" Iluna nodded slowly. "It's starting," she said. "You're seeing what it wants you to see." Jack leaned back, overwhelmed. All he did was buy tickets. Now a glowing alien crystal was inside his body, showing him visions of places he'd never seen. He didn't know whether to scream or laugh, but things only got stranger. Hours later, when the shuttle landed at the refueling station, a man in a suit was waiting at the gate. He held a small device, scanning every passenger as they left. "Stay behind me," Jack whispered to the girls. They walked together through the gate, trying to look normal. The man's scanner lit up as they passed, but he didn't stop them. He just smiled, watching them walk away. When they reached the edge of the landing platform, Nari turned slightly and whispered, "That man. He's not human." Jack looked back, and for a second, he thought the same. Something about that smile, too wide, too still. Iluna pulled Jack's hand. "We need to move," she said. "Fast." They disappeared into the crowded corridors of the station, heartbeats racing. Jack felt the shard in his hand pulse again. Warmer this time, almost like it was guiding him. They found an old cargo hangar, empty and full of dust inside. Iluna finally explained more. "We were created in a lab." "Jack," she said, "not born. Built." Nari looked down, ashamed. "They trained us to be tools, weapons, living machines." Iluna continued, "But we escaped." Jack was silent, taking it all in. "You helped us," Iluna said. "Now you carry something they fear." Jack looked at his hand, where the light still pulsed under his skin. "Great," he muttered. "So now I'm a walking target too." Iluna smiled, just a little. "Yes," she said, "but not alone." In the shadows of the hangar, behind old crates and fuel drums, the scanner man stood watching, eyes no longer human, and this time, he wasn't smiling. Asterisk, the cargo hangar lights buzzed quietly above them. But something in the air had changed. Jack felt at first a strange tightness in his chest, like someone was pulling invisible strings around him. Then Iluna froze, her eyes glowing faintly again. "He's here," she whispered, voice sharp like broken glass. Jack turned, slowly. But there was no one. Only crates, shadows, and metal walls. Still, the silence felt wrong, like it was holding its breath. Suddenly, the metal door behind them slammed. Shut on its own, Jack jumped, reaching for a tool from the crate beside him like a weapon. A smooth voice echoed through the hangar. "You shouldn't have interfered, human." The man from the gate stepped out of the shadows, but he wasn't just a man anymore. His skin shimmered like liquid metal, and his eyes no longer eyes were. "Glowing white orbs, prototype unit 3 and 4, he said coldly. "Return now and your deactivation will be painless." Jack stepped in front of the girls, heart pounding. "I don't care what they are," he said. "You're not taking them." The man tilted his head, curious. "Brave," he said, "and foolish." Iluna didn't wait. She raised her hand and sent out a sharp pulse of blue energy. It hit the man, sending him flying back into a wall of crates. But he didn't fall, he floated, his body twisting as if he had no bones. "I was hoping you'd resist," he said, smiling again. "Much more fun this way," Jack shouted. "Run!" As he grabbed Nari's hand and pulled her toward the emergency hatch, Iluna followed, firing another wave of energy that melted the metal behind them. The hatch burst open, and they tumbled down into a maintenance tunnel below the station. Dark, narrow, and full of steam, the tunnel seemed endless. What was that thing? Jack gasped as they ran. Iluna replied without turning. "A watcher." Jack had heard that name before, rumors whispered in dirty bars on mining moons. Machines made by governments or alien rulers. Built to hunt and capture anything too dangerous to be free. "They'll send more," Nari said softly. "They never come alone." Jack stopped near a broken vent, trying to catch his breath. "We can't keep running," he said. "Not without a plan." Iluna closed her eyes, thinking fast. "There's someone on this station," she said. "Someone who can help." "Who?" Jack asked. "Her name is Sola," Iluna said. "She used to be one of us. Until she broke her chain." "Where is she?" Jack asked, urgency rising. "In the lower decks," Iluna answered. "Sector Gray, hidden between the cargo alleys." Jack sighed. "Figures," he muttered. "Always the worst part of the station." They moved through the tunnel, climbing up into a service hallway filled with humming pipes and flickering lights. Iluna pressed her palm to a panel, and the wall clicked open, a hidden path, known only to them. Inside, the tunnel was darker, but safer for now. Jack walked behind them, still gripping the shard-marked palm, feeling its pulse grow stronger. Then he heard a faint sound behind the metal footsteps, sharp and steady. "They're following," he said, voice tight. Nari nodded, her voice trembling. They never stop, but the next turn brought them to something unexpected, a large iron door with alien symbols carved deep into the frame. Jack's hand burned suddenly, the shard inside him reacting. He reached out without thinking, pressing his palm to the door. The markings lit up, and the door slid open slowly. Inside was a room unlike anything Jack had ever seen. Metal vines wrapped around stone pillars, glowing pools of data floated mid-air. And in the center stood a tall woman with gold eyes. "You brought humans?" she asked, stepping forward. "You must be desperate." "Sola," Iluna said, breathing fast. "We need shelter and answers." The woman looked at Jack, then at the glowing pulse in his hand. "You touched the shard," she said. "Then everything's going to change." Behind them, the tunnel rumbled. The watchers were getting closer. Jack stared at the woman and asked, "Are you going to help or not?" Sola smiled. "I'll do more than help," she said. "I'll show you the truth." And as the door sealed behind them, the lights dimmed, and secrets long buried began to rise again. The room felt alive. It pulsed softly with light and sound, like it was breathing through the walls. Jack stood still, overwhelmed, as glowing strands floated past him like quiet ghosts. Iluna and Nari walked toward the center where the tall woman Sola waited, beside a strange platform made of both stone and metal. "This place is older than the station itself," Sola said. built long before humans left Earth. Jack looked around. So what is this? He asked. A key, Sola replied. And a lock. She turned to him, her gold eyes sharp. Tell me, what did you see when the shard entered your body? She asked. Jack thought back, images flashing again in his mind, the twin suns. The ancient gate in the sand, the symbols glowing in the dark. He told her everything. Sola listened without interrupting, then nodded slowly. The gate you saw is real, she said. It exists on Earth, buried beneath what used to be a desert. Jack frowned. Used to be? The planet has changed, she explained. But the gate remains. Iluna stepped forward, her voice tight. We always knew. The shard would choose someone, but not so soon. You were chosen because of your blood, Sola said. Something old inside humans. It connects with our kind in a way science never explained. Jack shook his head. I'm just a miner, he muttered. I dig rocks and fix drills. You are more now, Sola said, her hand brushing the air near his palm. And that shard inside you, it's not just memory, it's a map. Jack stepped back, heart pounding again. Map to what? To the last machine of our creators, Nari said, her voice low. The one they left behind. Sola nodded. It sleeps below Earth, and it can end the Watchers or wake them all. Jack stared at them like they were mad. Let me get this straight, he said slowly. You want me to go to Earth, find this ancient thing, and do what? Push a button? Sola's smile was thin, almost sad. No, she said. It must recognize you. Before Jack could reply, the walls shook violently. A blast echoed outside, and the ceiling lights flickered. They found us, Iluna whispered, pulling Nari close. Jack ran to the door, which Sola had sealed behind them on the other side. Heavy steps marched in rhythm. Not human, not soft, Watchers, she said. Too many this time. Jack looked at the shard mark still glowing in his hand. What does this thing want me to do? He asked, voice rising. Sola moved to the platform, pressing her hand to a console. A new doorway opened behind them, a tunnel swirling with light. This is a jump gate, she said. It will take you near the place you saw in your vision. You're coming with us, right? Jack asked. Sola shook her head. My time here is done, she said. I'll delay them, but you must go now. Nari hesitated. Sola, go, Sola said firmly. The shard won't stay quiet much longer. Jack grabbed Iluna's hand and pulled her toward the gate. Nari followed close, one last glance over her shoulder as the tunnel lit up. Behind them, Sola faced the incoming danger, her arms glowing with built-in power as they disappeared through the portal. Jack felt a pull in his chest, not just from the jump, but from something older. Deeper. When they landed, dust filled his nose and heat pressed against his skin. They were standing in a vast desert, two suns above them. Just like in the vision, Iluna pointed ahead. There, she said. The gate. Half buried in the sand was the ancient doorway, stone covered in alien carvings. Glowing softly as if waiting for him, Jack stepped forward, the mark in his hand pulsing faster with each step. Somewhere in the sky, ships were already moving. Time was running out, and the gate was about to open. Asterisk. The gate didn't open with sound. It opened with silence. A stillness so deep that even the wind stopped. Jack stood frozen as the ancient stone slid aside, revealing a glowing tunnel inside the earth. The walls shimmered like water, but pulsed like a living thing. Nari grabbed his arm, her voice trembling. It's awake now. Iluna didn't speak. Her eyes were locked on the tunnel ahead. Shoulders tight, Jack swallowed hard and stepped in. The shard in his hand now burning hot, guiding his way like a beacon. They walked down the glowing path, deeper and deeper, until the ground above them felt miles away. Then they reached the heart of it. A large chamber opened before them, filled with machinery older than memory. Floating orbs drifted through the air, whispering in languages Jack didn't understand. In the center stood a massive structure like a throne, but mechanical, glowing and humming. Jack approached it slowly, his hand reaching out, but before he could touch it, the air cracked behind him. A portal burst open, and out came the Watchers, 5 of them, tall, cold, and silent. They didn't speak, they didn't warn, they just raised their weapons, one aimed directly at Jack. Then something impossible happened. Iluna moved faster than sight, stepping in front of him just as the energy blast fired. The shot hit her in the chest, but she didn't fall. Her body glowed, flickered, then stabilized, smoke rising from her. "Back!" Jack shouted her name, grabbing her before she collapsed. "I'm fine," she whispered, even though she clearly wasn't. Her legs shook and her breathing slowed. Nari screamed and rushed forward, her own body beginning to glow with hidden energy. She released a wave of power so sudden that 2 Watchers were thrown across the room, crashing into ancient pillars. Jack held Iluna close, anger boiling in his chest. "You didn't have to take that from me," he said. "Yes," Iluna whispered, her voice soft and breaking. "It was always going to be me." The shard in Jack's palm burned again, brighter than before. The throne-like machine lit up, responding to him. A voice echoed through the chamber. Not spoken, but felt. "Identity accepted," it said. "Command interface unlocked." The ground trembled as lights poured out from the machine, forming a ring around Jack and the 2 girls. The remaining Watchers paused, sensing the change. One stepped forward, its arm turning into a blade. Jack didn't think he raised his hand, and energy burst from the shard like a wave. The blade shattered before it reached him. The Watcher turned to dust, scattered by the force. Nari gasped. "He's linked to the core." Jack stepped toward the machine, no longer afraid. The platform rose, lifting him above the floor. Data flooded into his mind, memories of the creators. Images of worlds lost, wars fought, peace shattered. He saw the truth. The girls weren't mistakes or weapons. They were meant to protect the balance between machines and living beings. But the Watchers had twisted that plan, turning guardians into prey. Iluna reached up to him. "You can stop them now," she said. "You just have to choose." "Choose what?" Jack asked, his voice echoing with power. "To shut it all down," Nari said. "Or to take control." Behind them, the Watchers began to regroup, readying for another attack. Jack clenched his fist, and the entire chamber responded, walls shifting, light bending. He had no training, no plan, but the machine listened to him. Because he did something none of the others ever did. He chose to help. He chose to protect. The platform glowed bright, and a shockwave of light exploded outward. Every Watcher within the chamber froze. Their movements locked, their systems overridden. One by one, they fell, lifeless. The chamber grew quiet again. Jack dropped to his knees as the power faded from his body. Iluna crawled over to him, placing her head on his shoulder. "You survived." "It," she whispered, smiling weakly. Jack looked around, breathing heavily. "Barely." But he knew it wasn't over yet. The gate had opened, but the galaxy would come looking for who unlocked it. Asterisk. Asterisk rain fell softly over the Earth's old desert. It hadn't rained here in years, but now, as if the sky itself had watched what happened beneath the sand, it cried. Jack stood at the top of a ruined hill, overlooking the broken stone gate they had left behind. It no longer glowed, no longer hummed. It had gone silent, like a heart that had done its job and could now rest. Beside him sat Iluna, her arm wrapped in cloth, her face tired but peaceful. Nari picked small purple flowers from between cracks in the dry stone, humming softly. They were safe now, but the word safe no longer meant what it used to. Jack remembered the terminal just days ago, when 2 scared alien girls whispered, "We don't have money for the tickets." He had no idea that small act of kindness would lead here. He looked at his palm, where the glowing mark had once been. It was fading now. Just a scar, but its meaning remained. He had been changed, not just by power, but by the choices he made when no one was watching. "I wonder what happens now," Jack said quietly. Iluna looked at him, her eyes calm. "Now we rebuild," she said. Now we become more than what we were made to be. Nari ran over and sat beside them, holding the flowers out to Jack. These are called heartsand, she said, smiling. They only grow after the ground is healed. Jack took one in his hand, stared at its soft petals glowing faintly in the gray light. You two changed everything, he said. Iluna shook her head. No, you did. A soft breeze passed over them, lifting sand and flower scent into the air. Suddenly, a quiet beep sounded from the small communicator Jack still carried, the one he had taken from the shuttle. He answered it, and a human voice crackled through. This is Captain Reeve of the United Space Fleet, it said. Is anyone alive down there? Jack smiled. Yeah, he said. 3 of us. The voice paused, then spoke again. There's a lot of noise about you, Jack. The stations say you stole classified tech, aided fugitives, destroyed federal property. Jack looked at the 2 girls, then back to the sky. Well, he replied, they're not wrong. There was a long silence, then a small laugh from the other end. Ships will be down within the hour, the voice said. Some want to arrest you, others want to thank you. Good luck sorting that out. The call ended, and Jack sat back, sighing. Are we going to be arrested? Nari asked, worried. Jack chuckled. Maybe, he said, but maybe they'll listen first. Iluna stood, brushing the sand from her legs. If they try to hurt you, she said softly, they'll learn we're not easy to chain again. Jack stood beside her, looking out at the skies as several small ships began to descend from above the clouds. They didn't know what would come next, maybe peace, maybe another fight. But this time, they would face it together, as partners, as family, as something new. And in the back of Jack's mind, a quiet thought returned, the voice of Iluna, long ago saying, you made the most important choice. He smiled, because he understood now. He hadn't just given them tickets. He had given them a future, and in return, they had given him something far greater than any reward. They had given him purpose. The clouds broke above them as the first ship landed in the sand, its lights flashing gently. Jack stepped forward, Iluna and Nari at his side, and together, they walked toward whatever was waiting. Not afraid, not alone, and never forgotten.